Have you ever released your birds for a race, watched them circle the loft with that familiar confidence, and felt that quiet pride every fancier knows, only to hear days later that half the basket never came home, and no one can explain why? You check the weather, you review your feed, you replay every detail in your head. Everything was perfect, and yet they vanished. Not lost to hawks, not caught in storms, just gone. And deep down, a terrible thought creeps in. What if it wasn't an accident? If this has crossed your mind, you're not paranoid, you're paying attention. Because the truth is, pigeon racing has a dark side, a hidden layer of sabotage, theft and cheating that most clubs never talk about, federations rarely investigate, and honest fanciers suffer from in silence. Today I'm not here to scare you, I'm here to arm you, because knowledge is the best protection, and the first step to defending your birds is understanding the threats they really face. Let's start with the most common and most heartbreaking crime, theft. Every year across Europe, North America, and Asia, hundreds of racing pigeons are stolen from lofts, transport trucks, and even release points. Not for food, not for sport, but for profit. Top bloodlines can sell for thousands of euros on the black market, especially young birds from national winners. Thieves watch lofts for weeks. They learn your routine. They know when you're at work, when the street is quiet, when the birds are in the basket, and they strike fast, cutting locks, lifting traps, vanishing before dawn. In Belgium alone, police reported over 200 pigeon thefts in a single season. One fancier lost his entire young bird team. 12 birds, all descendants of a national champion, gone in under 3 minutes. His loft was in a quiet village. His locks were new, but he'd posted basket photos on social media the day before. That's all it took. So lesson 1, never advertise your birds online before a race. No photos of your basket, no good luck to my team posts, because to a thief that's not pride, it's a shopping list. Now let's talk about something even harder to prove, poisoning. This isn't rumor, it's documented. In 2019, a Dutch federation confirmed that 17 lofts in one region lost birds to poison grain scattered near release points. The birds would land, eat what looked like spilled feed, and die within hours. Autopsies showed high levels of strychnine. Why would someone do this? Sometimes it's jealousy, sometimes it's rivalry, sometimes it's just cruelty. But the result is the same, broken hearts and empty lofts. And the worst part? It's nearly impossible to trace. The grain looks normal, the death looks like illness. By the time you realize what happened, the evidence is gone. So how do you protect against this? First, teach your birds to eat only from their bowl, not from the ground. Start this young. Use consistent feed so they recognize what's theirs. Second, if your birds return weak or vomiting after a race, save a sample of their droppings and contact a vet immediately. Time is everything. Third, talk to other fanciers in your region. If multiple lofts report sudden, unexplained losses after the same race, it's not coincidence, it's a pattern, and patterns can be stopped. Now another silent threat, signal jamming. Yes, it's real. Some unscrupulous racers use small electronic devices to block the GPS or RFID signals from other fanciers' tracking rings. The bird flies home, but the clock never registers. It's as if it never raced. In 2022, a national race in Germany was canceled after officials detected illegal jamming near the release site. The technology is cheap, easy to hide, and almost undetectable unless you're looking for it. How can you fight this? First, use dual tracking if possible, both ring and leg band with backup timing. Second, report any race where your bird returned on time but wasn't clocked, especially if it happens to multiple fanciers. Federations ignore one complaint, they can't ignore 10. But the darkest practice of all, helping birds home. This is where a fancier, usually near the race route, captures tired, disoriented birds from other lofts, feeds them, rests them, and releases them closer to their home. Sounds kind? It's not. It's cheating. It distorts race results, rewards dishonesty, and breaks the spirit of the sport. And it's shockingly common. Some even do it for money, charging a fee to rescue your bird and deliver it home. Real racing isn't about who gets home first with help. It's about who finds their way alone through wind, rain, and exhaustion. That's the test. That's the honor. So what do you do if you suspect this? Don't accuse, observe. Note license plates near your loft on race days. Watch for strangers walking with pigeons. Report unusual activity to your federation, not as gossip, but as concern for the sport's integrity. Now let's be clear, most fanciers are honest. Most races are clean, but the few who cheat hurt everyone. They erode trust. They make us all suspicious, and they steal the joy from a sport built on partnership, patience, and respect. That's why protection starts with awareness. Lock your loft not just at night, but during the day when you're away. Use motion sensor lights. Install a simple camera, even a $30 doorbell cam helps. Keep your basket out of sight until race morning. And never, ever leave birds unattended in transport. But more than hardware, protection starts with community. Build real relationships with nearby fanciers. Share concerns quietly. Watch each other's lofts. Because the strongest defense against the dark side isn't locks or cameras. It's a network of honest people who care more about the sport than winning. I've lost birds to theft. I've seen friends broken by poisoning. And for years I stayed silent thinking it won't happen again. But silence protects cheaters, not champions. So I'm speaking up, not to spread fear, but to build resilience. Because your birds deserve to race in a world where the only challenge is the sky, not the shadows beneath it. And if we all stay alert, stay united, and stay honest, we can keep this sport pure for the next generation of fanciers. In the next part, I'll show you the exact security protocols top lofts use, step by step from basket to release, and how to spot the warning signs before it's too late. After you understand the threats, the thefts, the poison, the jamming, the helping, the next question isn't why does this happen? It's what can I actually do about it? Because fear without action is just paralysis. And your birds don't need you to worry, they need you to protect them. The good news, you don't need a security budget or a surveillance team. You just need a few smart, consistent habits that turn your loft from a target into a fortress. Let's start with the loft itself. Most fanciers lock the trap at night and call it good. But thieves don't always come at night. They come midday when the street is empty and you're at work. So the first rule, lock the loft whenever you're not there. Not just the trap. Use a secondary lock on the door or window. A simple padlock on a hasp costs $5 and stops 90% of opportunistic thieves. And never rely on just one lock. Use two, one visible, one hidden. Thieves look for easy targets. Make yours hard and they'll move on. Now lighting matters more than you think. Install a basic motion sensor light above the loft. Not bright enough to disturb the birds, just enough to startle an intruder. In rural areas, solar-powered path lights around the perimeter work wonders. They're cheap, no wiring, and they create a watched feeling. And if you can afford it, a $30 Wi-Fi camera pointed at the loft door changes everything. You don't need to watch it live, just check the footage if birds go missing. One fancier in Poland caught a thief because his camera recorded a neighbor's son taking birds just to see if they'd come back. He didn't press charges, he just showed the footage to the family. The theft stopped. Now let's talk about transport. The most vulnerable moment. Your birds are in a basket, in a truck, often parked in public for hours. This is prime time for tampering. Always use a locked transport box, not just an open basket. Even a simple plastic tote with a padlock is better than nothing. And never leave the truck unattended near the release point. If you must, ask a trusted fancier to watch it. Better yet, travel in pairs, there's safety in numbers. And never ever leave your basket visible through the truck window. Cover it with a dark cloth, out of sight, out of mind. At the release site, stay until the last bird is gone. Watch how the baskets are handled. Are they opened gently? Are birds released in small groups? Or dumped all at once in chaos? Chaos is where sabotage thrives. If you see suspicious behavior, someone lingering near baskets, strange devices, people photographing rings, report it quietly to the race official. Don't accuse, just say, I noticed something unusual. You might want to check. Now what about your birds themselves? Can you train them to be safer? Yes. Start by teaching them not to land anywhere but your loft. How? Never feed them on the ground. Never let them eat from neighbors' yards. Make your loft the only source of food, water, and safety. A bird that's trained to return directly and not stop anywhere is harder to intercept. Also use distinctive markings. A small, harmless dot of non-toxic paint on the tail feather washes off in molt, helps you spot your bird if it's found elsewhere. Not for tracking, but for proof. If someone claims I rescued your bird, you can say, then it should have a red dot on the left tail. If it doesn't, you know the truth. Now let's talk about community, because this is your strongest shield. The dark side thrives in silence. Honest fanciers thrive in trust. Start by building real relationships with 3 to 5 nearby racers. Not just club members, people you can call at 6 a.m. if something feels off. Share your race schedules. Watch each other's lofts when you're away. If one of you loses birds, the others check their cameras, their yards, their traps. In the Netherlands, a group of 12 fanciers formed a loft watch network. They share license plates of suspicious cars, alert each other before races, and even take turns guarding transport trucks. In 3 years, not one bird was stolen from their group. That's the power of unity, and never underestimate the value of quiet observation. Notice who asks too many questions about your bloodlines, who always wants to see your young birds, who shows up near your loft on race mornings just passing by. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. But don't confront. Document. Take notes. Share with your trusted circle. Now what if you suspect cheating in a race? Don't post online. Don't accuse publicly. Go to your federation with facts. My bird returned at 2:15 p.m., but wasn't clocked. 3 other fanciers had the same issue. Could there have been signal interference? Federations ignore emotional rants. They respond to calm, collective concern. And if your federation ignores you, find a better one. There are regional and national groups that take integrity seriously. Your loyalty should be to the sport, not to a broken system. Another powerful tool, timing redundancy. Use both a traditional rubber ring and a modern electronic system, if your federation allows it, or use 2 different tracking apps on your phone as backup. If one fails, the other may save your result. And always keep a personal log, release time, weather, return time, bird behavior. This isn't just for training, it's your evidence if something goes wrong. Now let's address a hard truth. Sometimes the threat comes from within your own club. A fellow fancier might borrow your best cock for breeding without asking, or spread rumors to hurt your reputation, or even sabotage your birds out of jealousy. This hurts the most because it's betrayal. The best defense? Boundaries. Be friendly but not naive. Never let strangers handle your birds. Never leave your loft unlocked during club visits. And if someone crosses a line, address it calmly but firmly. I value our friendship, but I can't allow that. Real fanciers will respect you for it. The dishonest ones will reveal themselves. And remember, protecting your birds isn't selfish. It's stewardship. These birds trust you with their lives. They fly hundreds of miles believing you'll be there when they return. That trust is sacred. And honoring it means doing everything in your power to keep them safe from sky, from storm, and yes, from the shadows of human greed. So lock your loft, watch your basket, build your circle, stay alert but not afraid, because the dark side only wins when good fanciers look away. And you're not looking away anymore. In the next part, I'll share real stories from fanciers who faced these threats and not only survived, but helped clean up their entire racing region. Because the light always wins when we carry it together. There's a story I need to tell you. Not to frighten you, but to show you what's possible when honest fanciers refuse to stay silent. It happened in a small town in northern France where for years young bird races ended with half the basket missing. Birds would vanish on tosses under 100 miles. No storms, no hawks, just gone. The local federation called it bad luck. The older fanciers said that's just how it is with young birds. But one young fancier, barely 22, refused to accept it. He started keeping a log. Not just return times, but license plates of cars near the release field, descriptions of strangers watching the baskets, even the behavior of other racers. After 3 races with suspicious losses, he quietly shared his notes with 4 trusted friends. Together, they set up a simple plan. On the next race day, 2 would stay at the release point, 2 would watch the route home, and 1 would monitor the local Facebook groups for anyone posting found pigeons. That day, a man in a white van was seen picking up tired birds near a rest stop 20 miles from the loft. He wasn't helping, he was collecting. The group followed him, not aggressively, just carefully, and saw him take the birds to a private loft on the edge of town. They didn't confront him, they took photos, noted the address, and went straight to the National Federation with evidence. Within a week, the man was banned for life. His birds were confiscated, and the local race results returned to normal almost overnight. That young fancier didn't have money, power, or influence. He had observation, courage, and community. And that was enough. This isn't an isolated case. All over the world, quiet groups of fanciers are pushing back, not with anger, but with integrity. In Belgium, a coalition of 30 lofts created a clean racing pledge. Anyone who signs agrees to never interfere with another's birds, to report suspicious activity, and to accept random basket checks before races. Races under this pledge saw a 70% drop in unexplained losses in just 1 season. In the U.S., a regional federation now requires all transport trucks to park in a secured lot with cameras during race check-in. It costs less than $500 and thefts drop to 0. These aren't miracles, they're choices. And they start with one person saying this isn't right. Now let's talk about something harder. What if the cheater is someone you know, a friend, a mentor, maybe even family? This is where the sport breaks hearts. I've seen it, a veteran fancier, respected, decorated, caught using a signal jammer in his truck. When confronted, he didn't deny it. He said, "I've lost 3 national races by seconds. I just wanted 1 win before I retire." No one reported him. They were too afraid of the fallout. But silence doesn't protect the sport, it protects the lie. The truth is, real respect isn't given for wins. It's earned through honor. And sometimes honoring the sport means letting go of a friendship that dishonors it. That's painful, but necessary, because every time we look away, we tell the next generation that winning matters more than truth. And that's a legacy no trophy can fix. Now, what about the birds that are stolen or rescued? Can they ever race again? Yes, but with caution. If a bird is returned after being held by someone else, quarantine it for 14 days. Not just for disease, but for behavior. Watch if it tries to fly to a different loft. Some birds imprint on their captor's location, especially if fed and cared for there. Retraining takes weeks of consistent free flight, trap response drills, and never releasing it alone until it's 100% loyal to your loft again, and never race it in a direction that passes near the captor's home. The mind remembers what the heart endured. But here's the hopeful part. Most birds, when returned to a calm, consistent loft, rebond deeply. They seem to know their home. I had a hen stolen from a transport truck, returned 3 weeks later by a stranger who found her in his garden. She was thin, scared, but alive. We nursed her back slowly. No races that season, just free flight, gentle handling, and patience. The next year she raced 300 miles and placed top 5. Not because she was special, but because she knew without doubt where home was. That's the resilience of these birds, and it should inspire us to protect it fiercely. Now let's talk about federations, because not all are equal. Some investigate every complaint. Others bury them to avoid scandal. How do you know which you're in? Look at their actions, not their words. Do they publish race integrity reports? Do they allow independent observers at releases? Do they ban repeat offenders or just warn them? If your federation ignores theft, cheating, or sabotage, you have 3 choices: leave, reform it from within, or build a new one. In Germany, a group of frustrated fanciers formed their own micro-federation with strict ethics rules. They started with 8 lofts. Within 2 years, they had 42 and national recognition. Change is possible, but it starts with refusing to accept that's just how it is. And never forget, the vast majority of fanciers are honest. They race for the love of the bird, not the glory of the win. They cry when they lose a bird. They celebrate when a rival succeeds. They share feed tips, loft designs, and young birds. Not out of obligation, but out of brotherhood. That's the real soul of this sport. The dark side exists, but it's small. What's large is the quiet majority who show up, day after day, to care for their birds with humility and heart. So if you've been hurt by cheating, don't quit. Stay, speak up, build your circle, lock your loft, watch your basket, and race with such integrity that your very presence raises the standard for everyone around you. Because the best way to defeat the dark side isn't with anger, it's with light. And your loft, your birds, your honesty, that's your light. In the final part, I'll share the exact steps to create your own clean loft protocol, how to talk to your federation without sounding accusatory, and why protecting this sport is the greatest tribute you can give to the birds who fly for you. You've seen the threats. You've learned the protections. You've heard the stories of loss and of resilience. Now comes the most important part, what you do tomorrow. Because awareness without action changes nothing. But a single fancier, armed with knowledge and courage, can shift the entire culture of a racing region. So let's build your clean loft protocol. A simple, practical system you can start using this week, no matter your budget or experience. Step 1. Secure your physical space. Install a secondary lock on your loft door. Not just a latch, but a real padlock. Add motion sensor lighting around the perimeter. If you can, place a basic Wi-Fi camera, even a $25 indoor cam pointed out a window, to cover the trap area. Test it. Make sure you get alerts on your phone. This isn't paranoia, it's responsibility. Step 2. Control your information. Never post basket photos, bird close-ups, or race plans on social media before a race. If you must share, do it after your birds are home. And never tag your location. To a thief, your pride is a map. Step 3. Train your birds to be loyal. Feed only in the loft. Never let them eat from the ground or neighbors' yards. Practice trap response daily. Call them in, reward them instantly. A bird that dives into the trap without hesitation is harder to intercept. Step 4. Vet your community. Build a trusted circle of 3 to 5 local fanciers. Share race schedules. Watch each other's lofts when you're away. Agree to report suspicious activity, not with gossip but with facts. I saw a white van near the release field is useful. I think John is stealing birds is not. Stick to what you saw, not what you assume. Step 5. Document everything. Keep a simple logbook. Date, race distance, weather, release time, return time, bird behavior, and any unusual observations. If something goes wrong, this log is your evidence, not just for federations, but for your own clarity. Now, what if you need to talk to your federation? Do it right. Don't say someone is cheating. Say, over the last 3 races, 12 birds from our region returned but weren't clocked. Could we check for signal interference at the release site? Frame it as concern for the sport, not accusation. Bring data, not emotion. And if they dismiss you, don't stop. Go to the national body or start a local integrity group. You don't need permission to protect what you love. Another powerful step, adopt a race day ritual. The night before, check all locks. Cover your transport basket. Confirm your trusted circle is alert. Race morning, arrive early. Watch how baskets are handled. Stay until the last bird is released. These small acts create a culture of vigilance, and cheaters hate being watched. Now let's talk about breeding. If you're raising young birds, teach them integrity from day one. Never race a bird you know is injured, stressed, or unready just to fill a basket. Never borrow bloodlines without permission. Never exaggerate your results, because the values you model today become the culture your birds race in tomorrow. And remember, your legacy isn't just trophies. It's the standard you set for those who come after you. I once met an 80-year-old fancier who hadn't won a national race in 20 years. But every young fancier in his region called him master. Why? Because he mentored them. He shared feed mixes. He showed up to help rebuild lofts after storms. He raced clean, spoke fair, and never cut corners. When he passed, over 200 fanciers flew a memorial race in his honor, not because he won, but because he was honest. That's the legacy worth building. Now, if you've been hurt, lost birds to theft, seen cheating go unpunished, felt alone in your concern, don't let bitterness take root. Use it as fuel. Channel it into protection, not revenge. Lock your loft, watch your basket, build your circle, and race with such quiet integrity that others are inspired to do the same. Because the dark side only wins when good fanciers stay silent. And you're not silent anymore. You're awake, you're aware, and you're ready to defend the sport you love, not with anger, but with action. So go home tonight, check your locks, look at your birds, remember why you started this journey, not for the clock, not for the prize, but for the moment they circle your loft. Tired but triumphant, and dive home like they've carried your heart in their wings the whole way. That moment is sacred, and it's worth protecting. Thank you for watching, thank you for caring, and thank you for being the light this sport needs. Keep your loft secure, your birds safe, and your racing clean. Until next time, fly with honor.